everybody, and welcome back to Game Night Date Night. And Game Night Date Night is in collaboration with Games and Couples, which do amazing things. They concentrate on couple counseling and they utilize a lot of board games as a tool to help couples stay connected, work together, and spend quality time together. And one other thing that they've done is they've created a rating system that helps couples figure out which game would best suit them for their current situation. Now keep in mind, 1 is not bad, 5 is not good. It really just depends on where you are as a couple. So the first thing that they rate on is conversation and connection potential. For a lot of couple, if they're playing games at the end of the day, this is a time that they come together. Maybe they're looking for something that has more room for them to be able to hold a conversation, while maybe things are tense and can flare up easily and you're looking for something that would have less conversation. The second thing that they're rating on is on getting to know you. How much will the game reveal about the other person? A lot of games can be where you're doing your own thing, they're doing their own thing, and you compare a score at the end. That would have a lower score in this case. Other games where you're kind of relying on each other, quizzing each other, or you're trying to figure out what they're going to do would be a lot more revealing. And the final thing that the rating system rates on is potential feeling for hurt feelings and conflict. Let's face it, this is a game. A lot of times it's one winner, one loser, right? So depending on how the game does that, it could generate some hurt feelings possibly. And a lot of games can have a lot of take that element, which would have an even higher potential for this. Now, in the month of November, for each week of November, we talked about a different game of the week. And for Remembrance Day, I kind of concentrated on army-themed games. So the first one I want to talk about is Memoir 44. Let's start by looking at the rating. So for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. There's stuff going on. This is a strategic game. You have your troops out on the map and you need to figure out who you're going to move. So you're going to be a little busy planning this, but you are also at the mercy of the cards that you have in front of you. So it could just be that it's a little bit planned for you. So I'm putting this one mid-range where, yes, you can have a conversation, but there are things going on that might distract you from that a little bit. Getting to know you, again, 3 out of 5. It's interesting to see what they're going to do, but then again, they're at the mercy of their card as well. Plus, they're not going to reveal what they're trying to accomplish because it's 1 versus 1 here for sure. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. The reason I'm giving a low score in a 1 versus 1 game here is because this is the whole point of the game. The goal is for me to defeat and destroy your unit so that I can get points on my side to be the winner. So because that is the whole point of the game, you should be expecting it. And I think that being that it's not a game that kind of has that as a side element and they choose to do it, this is the whole game. It kind of lowers the hurt feelings that it can generate. So this is what the box looks like. It's a game by Days of Wonders. One thing that's great with Memoir 44 for an army game is it plays in about 30 minutes. It is a quick game and the game looks good. The board is double-sided, so you have the side that has the beach and you have the side that is, well, all forest, but each scenario that you choose to play is going to be set up so you set the tiles to look like the scenario. And one thing that's cool with this as well is it's very historically accurate. This will replay the Battle of Normandy and it'll have a little spiel about explaining what was happening, who was in the war, where the troops was and what they were trying to accomplish, and then you replay that battle. You'll have your troops, so you have your little army guy, you'll have tanks, you'll have barbed wires, you'll have a sandbag that you put in different location. It is such a beautiful, gorgeous game, and it's so neat to play. And then this is just a close-up on what it all looks like. Now, keep in mind, some of those 3D pieces there, this does not come with a regular game. A friend of mine, I've never met him, but a Facebook friend ended up sending these handmade kind of upgrade pieces for me and my son to enjoy with this game. The second game that we talked about during the month of November is Air, Land, and Sea. So this one, conversation, connection, potential, a 4 out of 5. You're playing a card, they're playing a card. There's a lot more room to hold a conversation as you play. You have a few cards in your hand, so you're kind of a little bit at the mercy of what you have in your hand. So there's not as deep a strategy with this one, although there is still lots of strategy. But then depending on what you have in your hand, you're kind of going to be forced to deal with what you've got there. Getting to know you, again, a 3 out of 5. There's not perfect strategy in this because you are at the mercy of the cards, and you don't know what the other player has. They don't know what you have, and then sometimes they'll play something that you do not have the option to react to. You're kind of you don't have the proper card to play against that. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. A little bit higher because you can be building on your side and the other player can play a card that flips your card over to a lower valued card that lowers the battle score that you have when you went from winning and all of a sudden you're losing this particular battle. So Air, Land, and Sea is a very small card game. You have the 3 different area that you're going to battle. So in the air, on land, and at sea. And you'll have different cards that you'll be playing. So there's some cards that are designated to go in land. Some will be, at sea. Some will be in the air. And then you got to play them in that particular battle. Unless you play them on a backside, because every one of them could be played in any area if it's on the backside, but then they have a value of 2. Now, the lower card values also have a special ability where maybe it forces the other player to move one of their cards away, or it makes that no more cards can be played, or it'll make them flip a card from like a 5 to now it's down to a 2. So there's a lot of manipulation that way. The goal of the game is to win 2 out of 3 battle to be victorious, and then you would collect a victory point. Now, another thing that's really neat with this one is if you can start seeing that the battle is not going to go your way, you can forfeit. And if you forfeit earlier on, the other player gets less points. So, and it's kind of an interesting component to that. It's like, okay, well, I could win, maybe. Like, do you push and try to win? Or is it like, I don't think I will win, but if I forfeit now, they have 4 cards in their hand, so they're only going to score this amount instead of more. And then it's like the first player that reaches, and I don't know what it is they have to reach. I don't remember. I want to say 18 maybe, but the first one that reaches a certain score is the winner. Really neat game. Super simple. The more you play, the more you're going to be familiar with the cards, and then kind of have a better understanding of what could be out there, which is important when you're going to try to decide if you're going to forfeit or not. But it's a neat one, and there's a lot of different variation to this one. There was like a critter one now, and so if the army theme itself is not something that appeals to you as much, there's definitely different options out there. The next one that we talked about is the Grizzled. I would say the Grizzled has a bit of a darker theme. Like, I mean, they're all army themes, so it's all fairly gruesome, or when you think of it, but this one kind of embraces more like the horrors of war, but more like how the people at war would feel. And one of the things that they talk, like that this one is about, it's like you're not going to win war, you're just trying to survive it, and having friends there with you is going to help you along. So it's more about supporting one of another. This is a cooperative game, and you're just trying to survive long enough until peace comes so that you can leave war behind. It is an interesting game. It's hard. It's a very hard game. Conversation, connection, potential, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. This is a co-op games. You're going to be discussing things, but as you discuss, as you play, like, you'll have conversation as well. Getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5 as well. So there is some opportunity to learn a little bit more about your partner. Hurt feelings and conflict, 1 out of 5. You're on the same side. You're both trying to survive this war, and so there's a lot less for hurt feelings. So one thing I would point out is the artist that did the art for the Grizzled was killed by, what's the word now? A terrorist, in a terrorist attack, unfortunately. And I think this is kind of nice to have this artwork, mostly in this theme, seeing what has happened, kind of be out there to as a legacy for him. These are the pieces to this game. So you will select a character that you're going to play as. There are a bunch of different cards that's going to get applied. You have a coffee mug that you can kind of spend. There's like a little speech bubble that if you do a speech, kind of raise the morale. And then there'll be different kind of terrors or horrors or things that gets attached to you, like some of the burden of the ward that gets attached to you that would impede your play. So with this one is you have two pile of cards. You've got the one that's on top of the peace card, and the whole goal is trying to go through these cards and discard them so that you reveal the peace card. Then you have the other deck of cards that has everything else, and those cards are going to be added slowly to the pile of the peace card. So you're trying to go through the peace card faster than cards get added to it. As well, if you ever run out of the second pile, then it has like a monument. You didn't survive the war, and they created a monument in your honor. Also, as you're playing, and it's a push your luck game, so you're trying not to reveal three of the same symbol. So could be the state, like night or rain or winter. So you don't want to have three cards that depicts that. Or it could be a bullet, or it could be a gas mask, or it could be like a whistle, I think. And if you have three of those that shows up, then you lose the battle. So at any time you can say, okay, I'm stepping away because I don't have anything that won't reveal more. Now, if you manage to step away without revealing three of the same thing, those cards are discarded and put aside, and then you can move on to the next battle and then draw new cards. But the cards are going to get added. So and then depending on what you have left in your hand, how much is going to get added to the peace pile as well. So you're trying to get rid as much as you can without going over. And then you also have different things that gets attached to you, so like trauma, and those stay in place from round to round unless you're able to clear that up. And then when you forfeit, you can kind of assign, like you have this token that you can be like, okay, well, I'm sending this, and I'm going to send help to my friend to my left, a friend to my right. And if you're playing two players, there's like a dummy player that you could send to, and they'll be sending help. They're not part of the game otherwise, but they'll be sending, and whoever gets the most support gets the ability to be able to get rid of some of those trauma cards that gets attached to them. So the support of your friends are very helpful in this game. It's a neat game. Like I said, we played it. It is hard. Like, you do feel like we played 3 times in a row. It's a really quick game. And it just feels like you're just about to win. It's not that bad, but then it falls apart very quick. Very interesting game. Then the last one I'm going to talk about for the month of November is Undaunted Normandy. Really impressed with this one. So you have these tiles and you create this terrain, and it's a deck building game. So you have the cards, and then you'll be purchasing new cards. Now let's have a look at the rating first before I get more into this game here. So conversation, connection, potential, 3 out of 5. There's some strategies that you're doing, but you're going to be keeping that secret. It's 1 versus 1. So there is some opportunity to hold a conversation if you wish. Getting to know you, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. There's a lot more control over what you're going to try to accomplish, so there's a bit more strategy to it, and you can kind of see more or discover more about your partner depending on what they decide to do. Hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. There's definitely, like, they're coming after you. You get the sense that they're coming after you a little bit more with this one. Maybe you're kind of getting low on scouts, and they're really kind of targeting your scout so that he'll die, and so you can get a bit more of that feel, I would say, in this particular game. This is the box cover for Undaunted Normandy. You have the tiles that will go in the middle. You play different scenarios. So again, it'll kind of select a battle. You kind of pull out your troops. So some will go in your hand. The other ones will be cards that are available to purchase. That's going to be out there in front of you. And you're going to be battling against one another. Now, what's really interesting is, so you cannot send your troops unless your scout has gone to make sure that the coast was clear. Once they've gone through and kind of marked that it was safe to go there, you can start moving your other troops there. there's some location that have a certain point value, and you need to have control of those locations to reach a certain value so that you win the game. As you're going through, you can draw and purchase more cards that gets added to your hand. So maybe it's like you have two scouts, Scout A and Scout B, and then you can buy more Scout A cards so that you have the ability for that card to come across more often so that you can move them more. Now, so you can move, but then you can also attack the other player. So the further away they are, if you have like a ranged, so like your, is it a sniper that you have or a rifleman? I don't remember. But you can use them to attack. But the further away they are, the higher their defense is and the less, because the battles are dice rolling. So you would roll the dice, they get to defend. And if you're successful in hitting them, they have to discard one of those scout cards. Let's say if I was attacking their scout, they'd have to discard their scout cards. If they discard the last one, that troop or that scout has been defeated and they have to take that token off the board completely. It is neat. It is a very neat game. It took me this is one that I hum and hawed and I wanted for a long time and I just didn't acquire it for a while. This one just recently added to my collection and I got to play for the first time just this past month and it was very cool. So that was it for the month of November. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room as well as Games and Couples. We also have a Facebook page on Mel's Board Game Room and then Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game and our YouTube channel Mel's Board Game Room and Games and Couple Love in the Age of Board Game. Bye everybody.